of moderate size. He was small, but he was wiry, and he could move fast on his feet, and he had the pluck and the courage to have his opponents beat.
So when Arthur stepped into the ring, all gave a mighty cheer. Was all you could hear. Now the opponents tonight, Big Bad Bubba! Now this needs to be a clean and fair match. Ready? One, two, three. Arthur Vickers is the winner!
And everybody liked him. He's a jolly good chap, he said. He can make a career out of boxing, but he joined the army instead.
Arthur Vickers, small but strong, became a hero, World War I, put himself out on the line, protect his country and save lives. Now at first they didn't want him because he was so small. He went from station to station 5 times. He tried it all. But Arthur was determined, and at last he had his chance. They signed him up at Gloucester Green, and off he went to France. He took his place in the trenches, fighting day after day. At least they advanced to the wire with the enemy not far away. They didn't know what they could do. The situation was dire, so they called out for volunteers to go up and cut the wire. Job I must do. Take cover, lads, he cried. Go right at a little un, go right at a little un, go right at a little un, and cut the wire in two. Yes! Arthur Vickers, small but strong, became a hero, World War I, put himself out on the line, protect his country and save lives. They called Arthur a hero and they gave him the VC. He thought it was all a joke. He said, "A hero? Me? No."
And although he did for honour to have the Victoria Cross, there was sadness to his heart as he thought of all the lives that were lost. The war's a bad business. But it's something we must see through. And if you call me a hero,
all the others are heroes too. Arthur Vickers, small but strong, became a hero, World War I, put himself out on the line, protect his country and save lives.
when he came back home to Rome, he was greeted by a crowd of fans. Everybody wanted to meet him and to shake him by the hand.
Arthur Vickers, small but strong, became a hero, World War I, put himself out on the line, protect his country and save lives. The Lord Mayor asked to see him at the dinner at Town Hall. "You're a gallant chap, Arthur," he told him. "I'm proud of you, want to know."
Yes! But he didn't like all the cheering. He thought it was just a farce.
And he met up again with his boxing pals who said, "You're a chap
So let's do a bit of a run into our story, talking a little bit about Arthur, where he started. Born in Aston in Birmingham, which as many of you know is sort of top right-hand corner, the northeast side of Birmingham. If you're a footballer, Aston Villa, that gets you in the right part of Birmingham. His father, John, worked in a local brass foundry, and the family had, there was a family of 7 children, 5 boys, 2 girls. Aston in those days was overcrowded, poor accommodation, small houses, really a fairly poor working class area of Birmingham, but great spirit, a wonderful spirit. As you'll hear, Arthur was not very tall, 5 foot, 5'2", so quite a little man, which may actually have helped in his deed later on, which the children will explain. He went to school locally, and then as soon as he could leave school, he went to work in a brass foundry. Then later on, age 20, he joined the Warwickshire Regiment, spent 6 years and came out and worked again in a brass foundry. Now you might wonder, there's a bit of a theme here, brass. What's all this stuff about brass? Why is there a need for such quantities of brass? Well, one reason might be this. Okay, the army was going to need astounding quantities of artillery ammunition and astounding quantities of rifle cartridges, all of which made from brass. That had to be made, that had to be produced, and then sent on to the manufacturers that actually produced the stuff that went bang. So that is the reason why there's such a threat of brass. Okay, Midge's story, I will stop there, and I'll let the children, I've seen most of the rehearsal, it is absolutely brilliant. You need to listen, to pick up the story, find out how it was that an ordinary Joe, an ordinary bloke from Birmingham, did a most extraordinary thing, and in doing so, won himself the Victoria Cross, then and now, the highest medal, gallantry medal you can receive for actions in the face of the enemy.
Thank you everyone for coming today and to learn about the story of my great uncle Arthur Vickers, who was my paternal grandfather's brother. My brother Bill Vickers is down there as well. Thank you to the children for a wonderful performance that we've just had the pleasure of watching. We can see that a great deal of effort went into the performance, and it was brilliantly done by a budding troupe of thespians. Thanks also to the head teacher, Matthew Watson, and to the teachers for all their support, and to all the families for coming along today. Our family would also like to thank the following people. David Calcutt for writing the tribute to Arthur, David Allen, the creative director and owner of the Midland Actors Theatre, for producing the performance, and not forgetting Caitlin Kirby for composing the ballad music, putting together the songs and the music that we've heard today. Thanks also to Lieutenant Colonel John Rice, Chris Kirby and others at the Regiment Museum for all the help and support that they have given me in trying to celebrate the life of Arthur. Thanks also to Bob Carruthers and all the guys at the Regiment Association for all their help and support. It sounds like I'm making an Oscar speech here with all the thank yous. On a serious note, and to remind ourselves of the harsh realities of war, over 1 million Allied soldiers from across what was then the British Empire died during World War I. At the Battle of Loos, British dead alone was close to 16,000 and 25,000 men were wounded. With those massive numbers and with what Arthur Vickers did that day, it's surprising that he actually survived the deed and survived the war at all with those massive numbers. There isn't one person alive today who survived that, there isn't one person alive today that served in that terrible conflict. This means the Great War, as it was once known, has passed into history. It is therefore very important that we remember the heroes, and it's also important that we remember all of those that served our country to protect our democratic freedom and our way of life. It is through occasions such as we have seen here today that we ensure stories of service and bravery live on through the generations. Some involved in the conflict suffered terrible life-changing injuries and psychological trauma. Most have faded into history, but we must remember their sacrifice too. The Great War affected nearly all British families. The grief and the effects of the war were felt for many, many years. We must remember their stories. It is remarkable that a single brave action carried out by my great-uncle on the 25th of September 1915 near a French village that most of us have never even heard of is being remembered and lived today 109 years later. My family and I are very grateful to you all. Thank you, and thank you for inviting us here today.